Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon and welcome to the world of virtual accounts. Many thanks to ACT and Barclays for organizing this workshop. Before we begin, a quick introduction about myself and the organization I work for. We at Oracle provide business applications to cash management banks for them to roll out cash and liquidity products and services for corporate clients and corporate treasury. I had Europe pre-sales practice for our banking applications, and today we'll talk about cash management structures, how to effectively utilize virtual accounts. Now, we live in a world of 24 by 7 e-commerce and global supply chains. And amidst the revolution in commerce infrastructure with real-time payments, real-time liquidity, ISO 20022 rich datasets, and open APIs. Now, with all these innovations, virtual accounts have come a long way, not just identifier, but you could do a whole lot of things with virtual accounts, and we'll talk about those. Now, modern virtual accounts offer a strong foundation to lead transformation of corporate treasury for real-time cash visibility, global cross-border cash visibility, self-service, and the digital capabilities for the treasury, and overall simplification of operations. Now, of course, in doing all that, there are going to be migration challenges and execution challenges, and there will be middle paths to be taken. For example, how does virtual account pooling compare with other liquidity techniques like notional pooling? How do treasury make the change and realize the benefit of real account rationalization while gradually moving to virtual accounts for operations across subsidiaries and various legal entities? So let's talk about all of these issues in next 30 minutes. So in a recent TMI Treasury survey, most of the treasurers in next 12 months would like to do some project for virtual account. Okay, whether it is a virtual account for collections or virtual account for better cash visibility across multiple legal entities as virtual ledgers. And if we look at all the things that the treasurers wanting to do has to do with real time, either it's instant payments, mobility, instant collections, and the virtual account projects. All of it is towards real time everything. Now, it's a real time cash visibility in domestic scenario, real time cash visibility for cross border, and since we live in a world where there are no boundaries in terms of times, it's 24 by 7 e-commerce, and therefore the treasury also needs to move towards everything real time. And what we are seeing over here, initially treasurers would like to start with a collection use case for virtual accounts, where they can do a segregation of all the collections and do the reconciliation of the invoices against the collections and so on. So which is pretty straightforward use case, but then you can do it in a much more efficient way. You can do it in a way where more data, ISO 20022 data is available for better recon and so on. Okay. Treasurers are also looking at adopting virtual account ledgers, and what it really means. It allocating various virtual accounts towards multiple legal entities, multiple, you can call it virtual entities within the company, and therefore visualizing the cash not just at an overall level, but slicing and dicing in real time across multiple entities. And therefore, beyond these simple use cases of collection and then the ledger, treasurers are even looking beyond this. And if we look at in the same survey, they are asking for more complex products. And if we look at what I mean by complex products is not just virtual accounts in one currency or for domestic scenarios. Treasurers are looking at expanding virtual accounts services from their cash management bank even doing cross-border virtual accounts, multi-currency virtual accounts, meaning treasury could be located in London or Amsterdam, but the operating entities would be in rest of the Europe, other countries, and the operating entities outside treasury country can operate with solely with virtual accounts, and that really provides the global cash visibility in real time, instant cash availability. Uh, Treasurers are also looking at a complete digitalization of the treasury now, be it through open APIs, be it through self-service, be it through host-to-host connectivity. That digitalization, half of the treasurers are saying we should co-create, the treasury solutions along with our bank. And in the context of virtual account, it really means a self-service for opening as many virtual accounts in bulk or single that you want. Uh, Setting up control parameters on virtual account, linking those virtual accounts to internal organization, and then be able to do payments out of those virtual accounts. So, receive money in those virtual accounts, and all of this should be reconciled with your real account balances. So that's the digitalization that most of the treasurers are looking for. And thankfully now there are tools available which can enable banks to provide complex virtual account tools and services in a more seamless manner. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then lastly, treasurers are looking at leveraging the virtual account infrastructure for cash forecasting and capturing expected debits, expected credits, and doing reconciliation of the forecasted cash. So, and then it's exciting area, where a lot of machine learning techniques can come into play when it comes to cash forecasting, allocations, and doing reconciliation of certain cash flows. And that's where it gets even more exciting, where we go beyond the traditional use cases from a virtual account perspective. So with that kind of momentum and the demand in the market that the treasurers are looking at, what I will talk about today is why is there so much demand for virtual accounts and virtual account-led use cases? What are the pain points with traditional liquidity techniques like physical sweeps and notional pooling? How can a modern virtual account solution address some of these issues and do beyond, get an edge for corporate treasury? And how do we overcome the challenges of virtual account implementation? How do we gradually roll it out? So we'll look at various approaches, for that, and compare, the benefits and how it goes with the virtual account compared to traditional techniques as such, and how do we get best of both worlds as well. Okay. So what are the issues with traditional liquidity techniques? Now, if we look at this, I will talk this through with an example. And in this case, I will take an example of NGE, Next Gen Electronics, a company which is, have a treasury in UK and have multiple operating businesses of TV, white goods, mobile. It operates in multiple countries, in Germany, Spain, Sweden, and so on. Okay. So essentially, we're looking at a business which has multiple legal entities, which has a combination of resident, non-resident accounts. It has multiple currency operations. And of course, the collections are taking place in multiple places. The various ways of collections could be, in-store collections or e-commerce collections, or certain platforms like Amazon and so on. Okay, so we are looking at a bit of a complex scenario, in a mid-complexity scenario. And if I look at from a treasurer's point of view, what is he looking for? Okay, so treasurer is really looking at real-time cash visibility, and we can really aim for 100% real-time cash visibility. In reality, even if you get 80%, 90% cash visibility, which in a recent survey, 2 out of 5 treasurers have been saying they don't even have 80% cash visibility. Now, if we look at what are the components of real-time cash visibility which treasurer would like to have? You know, not just cash at the overall level, but a bit of an analysis, like by currency, by different entities, and by any dimension. I want to know what my cash position is. What's my cash position with NG Mobile? What my cash position with NG Mobile in UK, for example, and so on. Okay, so that's the first element of cash. Second, I should be able to do a multi-currency aggregation of cash. And when I mean multi-currency aggregation, again, it's another dimension. It needs to be cross-border. Okay, so and whether I do cross-border through physical sweeps or I do through virtual accounts, the effect is whether I get it real time or I get it multiple times in the day or I get it next day, and so on. And then lastly, the main cash management bank may not provide all the services. You might have multi-bank kind of a situation. And the another component of cash visibility is multi-bank cash visibility. So I should be able to integrate my multi-bank sweep with my virtual account structure. Okay, so that's one aim from a treasury perspective, which is cash visibility. And then treasury is looking at enabling receivable payable segregation and reconciliation, which is one basic use case from a virtual account perspective. Treasury is also looking at enabling payment on behalf of, receipt on behalf of POBO robo use cases. And then we'll look at in-house banking and digital self-service approach as well. So now with these aims, what should Treasury be doing? So if you look at the current situation for NG Treasury, what they do today, okay? So if we look at today, they have so many real accounts. So I think I'm not sure how the slide is looking in terms of clarity, but I think each of the box over here represent one operating entity. And if you can see RA inside, it means it's a real account. In this slide, all of these represent real accounts. So we're looking at multitude of real accounts for collection purpose, multitude of real account for a specific, vendor payments, salary payments, and so on. So with such a setup, we are looking at 50 plus, 60 plus kind of real account and management of those real account and banking relationships in multiple places. Now, to achieve cash visibility without virtual accounts, we are looking at domestic sweeps first of all. So operating entities doing balance consolidation in country, provided the cash management bank, of course, provide these services. And then we are looking at single currency notional pooling for interest optimization as one of the techniques. One of the possible techniques where you can offset credit balances and debit balances and look at interest optimization. There are certain negatives of this with respect to jurisdiction and the Basel III offset rules, but that is one of the techniques that is available for it. And you can also do multi-currency, for example. So you can do it across currency notional pooling. Now, whenever you want to do cash concentration, you can effectively apply physical sweeps, meaning all of the cross-border sweeps as well. So instead of so after doing your notional either sweeps and concentrate the funds in treasury. Now, with all of these techniques available, what are the issues that treasury is facing? And I think that this is the crux of the thing, that first of all, the subsidiaries are performing non-core business of banking. Subsidiaries and the operating entities are good in what they do in selling TVs and white goods and so on, but they are doing banking relationships. So then the non-core business, which could all be consolidated at treasury, and the subsidiaries can focus on their core business. So that's the problem statement number one, and it's expensive. It's expensive to do it in each country. Number two, there's so many accounts, real accounts, and it means so many banking relationships, and it all involves administrative costs, KYC costs. Whenever you need to open a new account, there's a lead time to open that account, get signatories. Whenever employee leaves the organization, the corporate organization, you need to find new signatory and again deal with the bank. So uh, overall overheads of maintaining so many real accounts. And then we are looking at so many sweep transactions every day, end of the day, end of the month, whenever you required. These are expensive, and it all costs money, and it all has a reporting requirement. So from your resident account to non-resident account sweeps, or one legal entity to another legal entity, you have intercompany lending reporting requirement, and in some jurisdiction even taxation requirement for such transactions. And despite all of this complex arrangement with so many real accounts and sweeps, is still the cash visibility is not perfect. It's not real time. It's not instantaneous. And then you could still have certain cash silos, certain orphaned accounts where accounts are not part of the structure, and nobody knows where that orphaned account money is lying over there. So from a capital clarity perspective, from a cash visibility perspective, the results are suboptimal, even with all the sweep structures and the notional pools that we have. And if you want to implement receipt on behalf of, payment on behalf of, with all the real account structure, I think these are heavy projects in terms of overheads. And then even if you do robo-pobo implementation, the backend reconciliation and the backend overheads that the corporate treasury needs to run is enormous. And then that's where I think we will see with virtual accounts how we can ease the robo-pobo implementation, how we can make it much more superior way of the cash visibility as we see. So let me move on from here and then see what we can enable with virtual accounts. So first of all, with virtual accounts, there is dramatic reduction in number of real accounts that you can achieve, really. So to the extent that all the real accounts can be held in the name of treasury, and operating entities can all work with virtual accounts. But in this scenario, I'm saying that all the accounts with the treasury, and in some odd scenario, you might have operating entities also having few real accounts for any particular reason. Could be regulatory, could be a specific service that is available in that country, so on. Now, in this case, we are saying, we have reduced it to 5 real accounts, 4 in the name of treasury, 1 in the name of a particular operating entity. And then with this structure, we move on and see first use case, where we are looking at a collection use case, where operating entity is now opening all the virtual accounts, for a specific client payments, for a specific type of collections, for a specific type of supplier payments, dedicated virtual accounts. So there is a natural segregation of virtual accounts and natural reconciliation that is available. Now, every posting that happens into virtual account, first it will happen in real account, and then it will reflect into virtual account as well. So you have real-time, instantaneous cash concentration in the few real accounts that you have, and you have all the details of the transaction available in the virtual account. And all of these virtual accounts are addressable virtual account, meaning you can give this virtual accounts to external world, to clients to make payment into. So to the payment infrastructure, the payments will be directed to the virtual account, and your cash management bank will figure out this is a virtual account. They will also create the real account, and there will be posting. So entire reconciliation of virtual account, real account, and the headache of payment reference number is completely eliminated with the use of virtual accounts for collection. And most importantly, today's virtual account solution offer ISO 20022 account statements. So the rich payment data, rich invoice data can be embedded with virtual account transactions for easy reconciliation later on. And all of this is available through self-service. Again, you need to ask your cash management banks, what kind of virtual account service they are providing. Virtual account means different thing to different people, but today's good virtual account solutions provide all of this to be available self-service, where corporate can open as many virtual accounts as they want with a click of a button. and then integrated with their internal infrastructure, allocated, for clients and suppliers to receive and make payments for. So that's, the clear use case for use case. And it's much better than traditional virtual identifier way. Okay, it now offers much more possibility with addressable virtual accounts and ISO 222 rich data, as we see. Okay. If I move on to other use cases for virtual accounts, it's really beyond collections and payables. You can really look at what using virtual accounts for aggregation and the cash visibility across, your operating entities and legal entities. So if you look at the second use case, which I'm pointing now, is where all the cash visibility can be at a legal entity level, operating entity level, and you can really enable a receipt on behalf of and payment on behalf of use cases with this structure, where real account is in the name of treasury and all the operating entities are working through virtual accounts. They can still operate, initiate payment, do a bulk upload of payment files, but the cash is concentrated in real account, and it goes out of treasury, it receives into the treasury account as such. And all of this available again, with the simplified approach of implementing on behalf of transactions. And now, in an earlier world, you would do all kind of reconciliation and backups and so on. In this case, the bank is providing, the cash management bank is providing a ready-made solution with virtual accounts, so that your on behalf of transactions are automatically reconciled. All the reporting is available between the virtual account and real account as such. So that's the second use case if you look at from a perspective of virtual accounts. So we discussed collections, we looked at RoboPobo transactions, and then we discussed cash visibility. And lastly, I'll talk about the rollout of the virtual accounts. You may run a pilot with collections use case. You may run a pilot with an on behalf of use case. And ultimately, a global rollout is possible. In an ideal scenario, your global rollout would look something like this, where you have all the real accounts in the name of treasury, and also you have a multi-bank cash visibility with accounts with other banks integrated into the structure, and all of your operations are run through virtual accounts. And at the real account level, you can either do pooling, notional pooling, and notional pooling for balance compensation, or notional pooling for interest optimization. There are multiple scenarios at the top that you can run. So in addition to RoboPobo and collections, with virtual account, the corporate treasury can also do all the in-house banking use cases of providing internal credit limits to each virtual account, internal interest rates to the virtual accounts, and also providing all the controls at the virtual account level for in-house bank, including intercompany transfers, VA to VA transfer. Now, in many cases, we have seen the bulk of the bank payments or intercompany payments in certain scenarios. And all of those bank payments can be completely avoided if we are doing a virtual account to virtual account transfer. It will not result into any bank payments, and it will all be done digitally in a self-service manner. So with this overall structure, if we look at it's more of a nirvana stage, and of course, there will be scenarios where you would have certain set of challenges. You would have certain set, and we'll look at those challenges in terms of how to roll out a virtual account solution. Before we go that, a quick summary of key benefits that we discussed with virtual accounts so far against traditional techniques. So in case of virtual accounts, you don't have to define credit limits for each operating entity. The whole banking burden of maintaining real accounts and the credit limits at the operating entity level is taken away. Funds are automatically concentrated, so there is no offsetting a requirement from a pooling perspective across different operating entities that clearly you see. Overall, if we look at the key benefits from a perspective of virtual accounts, real-time cash concentration, easy enablement of RoboPobo, and all of this is not possible to through traditional techniques. I think one challenge remains with virtual accounts against notional pooling is intercompany balances. That virtual account solution would create intercompany balances, and the good thing is, the good news is all of these intercompany balances can be easily reported because they are segregated, and the bank can easily report the intercompany lending and intercompany balances across all of these structure. So what are the challenges in terms of implementing a cross-country, cross-currency, multi-bank WAM solution? It's definitely beneficial, as we discussed. One, its implementation comes with challenges in terms of how do you roll out such solution? How do you close your existing real accounts? How do you onboard? And again, the today's cash management bank provides many tools, simulation activities, and co-creation with treasury, which can ease the pain of implementation. However, regulatory side, what are the challenges? One, national currency controls, and you can't do anything about it if there are national currency control on resident accounts, non-resident accounts. If you can't move, the currency out. So in those cases, of course, you cannot do a cross-border virtual account, and you would look at either a pooling or a physical sweep combined with virtual accounts. And the key is, again, today's cash management solutions provide virtual account structures along with sweeping and along with pooling. They're not silos, so you can combine these techniques together. And of course, I talked about intercompany loans reporting as well. So if we look at the kind of a combination of things, right? Potential solution. You can combine virtual account structure at the lower level, and the headers of the virtual account can form, notional pool as well. So in this case, we are not looking at intercompany reporting requirement, but at the same time, we are benefiting from overall virtual account structure, and we are combining the virtual account solution with notional pooling at the top as one kind of a middle path. And there's no hard and fast fixed rule about it. You may have a structure which is partially end-to-end virtual account, let's say for sterling, because it's domestic, you complete. And for say, for example, for Swiss franc, you may have part of the notional pool as well. So again, depending on the specific needs of the corporate treasury, a mix and match of virtual account structure with physical sweeps and notional pools can give you an optimal treasury solution. And at the end of it, the goal remains from the perspective of the treasurer that you want maximum percentage of real-time cash visibility, whether it's 80%, whether it's 90%, given the regulatory regime, what you can achieve, but you want it by currency, by entity, by different dimensions. So the cash visibility, I would say cash dashboard, and then the bank should be providing that in a real-time basis rather than you collecting cash information with empty 940s and 20s and then making a sense out of it. Okay, and with today's virtual account solution and the cash management solution, it's possible. It needs to be multi-currency, it needs to be cross-border, it needs to be multi-bank. And at the same time, apart from cash visibility, you enable use cases for collections and receivables on behalf of structures, in-house banking. And all of these should be available digital and in self-service. And again, today's solution, from Oracle, the way we look at it from a technology perspective, they're all available, in a cloud environment, but providing all the techniques of liquidity in one modern solution. And therefore, I think when we talk virtual accounts, you need to ask your bank what is really meant by virtual account solution. It means so many things for so many people. And if you probe more, you would find out that there is a lot more that you can achieve with virtual accounts. It's not just identify what it used to be. So that's pretty much I wanted to talk about, I wanted to, cover in terms of what you can achieve with virtual accounts, and we can possibly now open it up for, Q&A as such. Any questions? Excellent. So I think the first question is such a good idea. Why do we see few organizations using them? And my belief is the banks have been slow in terms of providing a comprehensive virtual account solution, and in terms of integrating their virtual account solution with their real account offering and with their payment offering. So it's all about integrated offering, and therefore we see organizations using it a lot less because the cash management banks are not completely providing integrated offering. But that's changing. About what I'm seeing over the last couple of years, it is changing. And also there are migration challenges with large corporations for their own ERP processes and treasury management processes. So the issue is at the both ends, but I think it's evolving. It's evolving, and the cash management banks are really eager to fulfill that space with providing with virtual accounts. The second question is in terms of accounting and tax implications. Yes. There needs to be intercompany lending. Books need to be maintained, and if jurisdictions require that the funds are transferred, it is considered as lending at the market rate, and then there could be certain tax implications. So yes, in virtual account solutions would require intercompany lending reporting and tax calculations. But again, as I said, with the segregation of virtual accounts, that reporting is much easier than what you would do with your physical sweeps. Again, physical sweeps also require same kind of accounting and tax implication, but with virtual accounts, it's much easier to report and implement. Okay, the other question is, are banks actually offering these as a mainstream option? I would say some of the leading banks, yes, offering as a mainstream options. And again, you even with a lot of high street banks, you need to really ask this question: what they're offering and what are the details of their offering. And as we have seen, there's so much details that you can go into it. So you need to ask a lot of questions to your cash management banks. Not everyone, but yes, few of the high street banks are definitely offering it, and you should really explore that. Yeah. The last question would you envisage the balances of the real account and the constituent virtual accounts to be reported to the ERP or just the real account? That's a good question. So I think it will be both. The virtual account should also be created as an account in the ERP, and virtual account balances and the real account balances both to be reported to ERP and reconciled. So both should be reported, and the VA would normally work as ledger within the ERP itself. Yes. And then the idea of the ERP integration of virtual accounts is the banking in the context of the corporate business, be it invoice payments, invoice reconciliation, so on. So VA from an ERP integration perspective would be key. I would believe so, apart from all the self-service elements that is provided. So it's not a must, but if you would do ERP integration, there are greater benefits. So there are synergies and there are complementary solutions with the self-service capabilities provided by the bank and the ERP integration. Any other questions? I think we are almost at the top of the hour with half a minute remaining. Thank you so much, for the participation and the great questioning. I hope you found the information useful, and I could throw some light on various usage of virtual accounts. And many thanks again to ACT and Barclays for enabling this session. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.